Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia, I'm coming to you from the UK, and today is Sunday the 11th of June 2023. I'm so glad you're joining me today to talk about some knitting and some yarn and basically a lot of new cast-ons, because I have been starting things all over the place. If you don't know, we have really warm weather in the UK, and somehow it's been making me want to ignore all of my whips and just cast on new shiny things and smaller projects. And yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So I figured I'd give you guys a bit of an update, and I also wanted to show you what I am wearing today, which is my latest finished object. This is the Toaster Tee by Creabea, who is Rebecca Clow. I talked about this quite in depth, I think the last 2 episodes, so if you want more information about it, please do check those out, because I don't want to bore you with the same stuff every week. But essentially I knit this using the recommended yarn, which is Woolly Knit in their cotton cones, so it's 100% cotton. I use natural beige and magenta as the colorways, and I did 10 rows of the beige and 2 rows of the magenta. And besides that, I pretty much knitted to pattern. Not sure if I followed the arm instructions or sleeve instructions to detail. I basically picked up all the sleeves and just knit, I think, until I had 10 rows of the beige, and then did a couple of ribbing rows before binding off. But I think that's relatively close to what the pattern suggests. This one also looks a bit messy, but that is just because honestly I've been wearing this t-shirt and it's just been moved around a lot, because we are currently dealing with carpet moss, which, let me tell you, is not very fun. So we have a very, very small bedroom, and because we're in the middle of building shelves, we also don't really have that much wardrobe space at the moment. So things are just constantly in piles and being moved around, which is why I think this has like a bit of a weird folding line here and here. So excuse that. But yeah, the pattern is absolutely fine. The yarn is nice. I actually really enjoyed wearing it. I mean, today it is a bit too hot, I will be honest. But I've been wearing this tee on like sort of low 20s Celsius weather, and it's actually been sort of relatively cool to wear. And as you can tell, I have quite a bit of positive ease on this one. So it just sort of hangs really quite nicely. The only adjustment I would make if I were to knit it again, which I think I will, is I would make it a little bit longer, which is in no way the pattern's fault. I didn't even check how long it is, but I think the pattern is, like, all the samples seem to be a little bit on the cropped side, so that's just what I did. But it turns out I'm not really enjoying it, because I think I wear high-waist jeans, but not super high, and same with my shorts, and it just seems to be riding up a little bit. Just doesn't really 100% go with like my wardrobe and all of my other things that I will pair it with, because I'm not a dresses person, I'll be honest. Usually I'll be more like jeans and shorts and all of those things. So I think the next one I'm gonna make a bit longer, or I would make it like actually cropped so it looks intentional, rather than a top that's just like slightly too short. But otherwise, I've been really enjoying it, and the cotton is actually really, really soft now that I've washed it as well. And I think with more washing and wearing, it's just gonna get nicer and nicer. Yeah, so that is the Toaster Tee, and I think that's my only... No, it's not my only finished object for the week. So, a bit of a backstory there. Last week, I asked you guys for recommendations for cotton yarns to knit some washcloths. And thank you so much to everyone who gave their suggestions. A lot of people said I should use, I think, Knit Picks Dishy, which I can order Knit Picks from the US to the UK, but it involves paying for shipping, and I wanted something that's a bit more local. So I think the one that was named the most was this yarn, which is Scrappy's Katona. So this is what it looks like, and I was like, well, if all these people are recommending it, I'm just gonna get some and try it out. So I think this is a Dutch yarn, Scrappy's. It's 100% cotton. It's mercerized cotton, which I didn't realize. So it's like the shiny kind of cotton, which I don't know really how I feel about it yet. But this was very affordable. I think I got this from Lovecrafts with like a coupon, or I think they had a sale on as well. And it turns out this comes in 50-gram and 25-gram balls. So I went for the 25-gram option, just to sort of see and play with some colors. So these are the balls that I still have left over. And the nice thing with cotton is that it's relatively affordable, I think, compared to wool. So I felt like I could just get all of these like little £1.50 or something balls of cotton and just try it out and have fun with the colors. So in the end, what I did, I looked at a couple of different dishcloth patterns, both the ones that you guys suggested and just some I found on the Pearl Soho website, because I just really like the look of everything that Pearl Soho does. Like, I think their product photography and color choices generally just like really appeal to me. And I actually tried a couple of different ones and ripped them out, because the reason why I was so picky about this one is that I wanted colorful washcloths to hang up in our bathroom. So I knew I wanted to make a couple, and I'm quite picky when it comes to patterns. Like, I want my knitting to be enjoyable. So anything that'll have like a linen stitch or too many like complicated stitches, or there's a lot of like slip stitches, it turns out, in washcloths, at least the ones that I looked at. All of those I didn't want to do. Like, I wanted something that was super simple to knit and something that I liked the look of. And so I tried a couple of different things, and you will laugh when I tell you what I eventually went for, because let me show you. I made little half and half washcloths. So if you haven't watched this podcast before, you might not know that I have been, as so many people, obsessed with the half and half triangle shawl by Pearl Soho. And they have a half and half triangle dishcloth or washcloth or whatever. So in the end, I chose to do just that. And as it turns out, for this size, I cast on 38 stitches per dishcloth, and then just follow the pattern. And I, out of a 25-gram sort of mini ball of this cotton yarn, I managed to get 2 dishcloths, like two color dishcloths, and I had some leftovers. So in the end, out of 5 balls of these little cotton balls of yarn, I managed to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half and half dishcloths. So each of the colors repeat twice. And then I had some leftovers, so it was a little bit different, the amounts that I had. I think just some of the balls, either my gauge was different or they were just slightly over and underweight. So I also just did a little ribbed one, which I think actually turned out really cute. I think it ties these together. And our towels have this color, which is why I chose it. And as you can tell, my other colors, I think I have a very strong color palette at the moment, going for these like yellow and pink and like beigey browny colors. Like, it's just something that I'm gravitating towards this year. Like, my prison blanket, which is also a Pearl Soho pattern, I think is quite similar in terms of colors, and I just seem to come back to these colors, which, well, the heart wants what the heart wants, right? So yeah, I knit 5 dishcloths plus a bonus little ribbed one, which actually I think it looks really cute as well. I found cotton a little bit hard to block out, like it tends to be a bit uneven. And at first when I was knitting with it, because it's mercerized cotton, I found it to be quite like shiny. But I think having washed it, I like it more, and presumably, like with this, the more I use these and throw them in the wash, I think they'll be really useful. So yeah, my plan is to find like a really cute little rack or something to hang all of these up, and I think they'll be really cute. So I'm very excited about these. These are knit on 3.5mm needles. And yeah, I think having done 5 of these, I think I did these and my leftover one all in like 2 or 3 days. I think I'm good for a while now, but come like Christmas time, dare I mention Christmas in June, I was thinking it would be really cute to just make like 1 or 2 washcloths and then gift them with maybe like a nice face soap or just a general soap or something. Like I think it could be a really cute sort of handmade gift that would be quite quick to make, because these are so mindless to make. Like I took these when I went to the park with my son. I took them when we had a barbecue with friends. It's just really sort of mindless potato chip knitting, especially if you've done the half and half wrap before. So yeah, these were quite fun, and they are technically another finished object for this week. Sorry, I am so warm and I'm just gonna keep going, and yeah, there you go. It is way too hot up here, and I've had the blinds shut all day, but obviously I needed to open them a little bit just to have some light to record, and I'm going to be paying for that later because this room is now heating up, just like the rest of my house. Anyways, I have one more whip that I worked on and another new cast on. Everything else I haven't really touched. I've just sort of been ignoring my whips. But I have worked a little bit on my cinnabar shawl, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. And it is getting too big for the cord that I have it on. But this is one side and this is the other side. And yeah, it's getting quite big. To be honest, this is a bit of a slog to work on. I'm not massively loving the project anymore. I think it's just because I haven't really been wearing shawls that much besides my half and half wraps recently. So then if I don't like desperately want a finished object, I tend to work a little bit less on it. And obviously like this is a fun construction. I really enjoyed it, but now it's just kind of like more and more of the same. But yeah, this is where I was the last time I showed it to you, if you can see that marker there. So I've done a good 4 inches, possibly 5 inches, and I'm just trying to work on this every now and then. This pattern is written, I think, for like a worsted weight or DK weight yarn, and I'm using fingering weight yarn, so obviously it is taking a bit longer. My sort of background color, it looks black, but it's this really like nice dark plum shade, is a BC yarn, I think a Shetland. I got this years and years ago, and the sort of color changing yarn, which the ball is on the floor, so I'm not gonna go get it, but it sort of changes from like almost like a rosy, slightly rosy gray white to like darker gray and back. So this color changing yarn is the Queensland Perth sock yarn. And yeah, I think they work quite well. Again, I haven't made amazing progress, but I am still working on it. And I just want to finish this. I just want to get through it. This is not really like what my heart wants to knit on right now, but I'm trying to keep going and eventually get this done. So that is my cinnabar shawl. And then I also have a new cast on. Again, with a backstory. So do I have more of this yarn around? I don't think so. Oh, I do. This yarn I bought years and years ago. When we were in Munich, at least 5 years ago. This is my one and only Rowan felted tweed. So if you've been in the knitting scene for a long time, I bet you've knit with this. I think this used to be like a very sort of fancy but like common staple yarn, at least here in the UK. It's a beautiful yarn, and I've never knit with it. I've never even knit with Rowan yarn, I think. But I bought this on a sale years and years ago. I think when the color arrived, I wasn't 100% excited about it. Like, it looks a little bit different to the projects that I've seen with it, even now on Ravelry. And I just never cast it on. And then the other day I dragged it out of my stash, and I was actually thinking about destashing it, because I have a bin of stuff that I want to destash, and part of me was like, do I want to work with yarn that doesn't make my heart sing 100%? Or should I destash it and then use my time with other yarn? But I decided to use it, and you know what? I am so glad I did, because now I get why this yarn is quite, or used to be quite, like, hyped up. I think it's quite pricey for a commercial yarn. I think I was in John Lewis the other day, and this was like maybe £9 something for a 50-gram ball, which I thought was, I mean, a little bit extravagant. But I'm so glad I'm using it because it is actually absolutely lovely. So I was thinking, what would I use this yarn for? I don't have that much of it, so I didn't dare do any like cables or anything like that. So in the end, I decided to go for something really practical, and that is a stockinette cardigan. Because I don't really have cardigans. I have this trio cardigan that I wear a little bit by Andrea Mowry. But a lot of the cardigans that I've knit over the years, they either don't fit so well, or I have a Plötulopi one, which is a little bit itchy, and again, it falls off my shoulders, and I just don't really wear that many cardigans. But I think if I had like one like single colored, non-fancy sort of cardigan to just throw over anything, that would be really, really handy. So I decided to use a raglan sweater pattern that I already had in my library with the right gauge and just make a cardigan out of it. So I did a gauge swatch, and I think my gauge was 20.5 stitches per 4 inches / 10 centimeters. And so the pattern that I had in my stash that worked for this was the no frills sweater. So I used the numbers and the short rows from the no frills sweater to then make myself a cardigan out of it. There is a no frills cardigan as well, like a already written pattern that I've actually knit before, but that has a very different look to it. Like that is a different pattern with a sort of V-neck and like rib button band that you knit as you go, whereas I wanted more of a classical like round neck cardigan. I'm thinking I might actually put buttons on this. I usually don't put buttons on my cardigans, but this one I think with like pearlescent buttons would be really cute. So that's why I went for just like a basic raglan, and I did the short rows and everything, and in the front I just added a steek. So I'm not sure if you, oh yeah, you can tell here. Framed by these pearl stitches is my steek panel that I'm eventually going to cut into. And then I'm going to, I did quite a short ribbing on the top. And I'm going to do the same for the button band and possibly at the bottom. So I think this will be sort of like a nice understated cardigan. And I love this yarn so much. It knits up so beautifully. Like it looks a little bit rustic because it does have like the tweedy bits. But the feel of it is great, and I have a feeling again with wearing this might become like nicer and nicer and nicer. It's not the softest yarn, it's definitely rustic, but it's rustic in like a very sort of, I don't even know how to describe it, like it's a lush base, like it's just beautiful to feel. I think there's some alpaca in it. Let's see what's in it. Where does it say? 50% merino wool, 25% alpaca, 25% viscose. There you go. And yeah, I'm quite excited by this. I haven't really worked on it since it got that hot. But, I mean, I just need to get through the yoke, and once I separate for the sleeves, I think this will be quite quick. I'm using my Licker needles, and these ones are 3.75mm needles. So that is the last thing that I cast on that I can remember, although I've just been like all over the place with my projects. I have all these new ideas, and usually I sort of make myself finish that first, but recently I've just cast on. I've just been, oh yeah, I have another cast on, there you go. Yeah, I've just been all over the place. I think it's because I've been a little bit stressed out. We've had a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, if I'm stressed out, I will just dive into knitting. So, talking about new cast-ons, you may remember the sock using blue stranded dyeworks yarn that I got from one of Jude's surprise grab bags. It was this lovely blue speckled yarn on their MCN base, which was amazing. And you know what? It is gone. I cannot find it anymore. I don't know what happened. I did lose my bag the other day. But I did find my bag again because I was very lucky and someone handed it into a local school and I actually managed to find it. But it didn't have my knitting in it, and I don't think someone would have taken my bag, handed it into the school, but kept my knitting. So I thought it must be in the craft room, but I have since cleaned up my craft room. There is no stranded dyework sock. So I don't know, either it is somewhere in my house, I just can't find it, or I wonder if I took it somewhere in the buggy and it fell out, but all the bags that I usually use to like have knitting on the go are at home. So I don't know, I have this mystery sock that I've lost, but I decided to give in yesterday and cast on a new sock. So, because again, we went out, we had a barbecue with friends, and I just wanted some mindless knitting. And could I have knit on my Gusto wool socks that I have on the go? Yes, absolutely, but I decided to cast something on. And the yarn that I decided to cast on is actually yarn that I got for my birthday. I had some birthday money, my birthday was last month, and I got myself some Fab Funky Fibers. So you may remember I knit a sock tube over our holiday using a 50-gram Fab Funky Fibers skein just to see if I could get full-size socks in my shoe size, which is EU 42, out of 50 grams of self-striping if I use contrasting heels, cuffs and toes. And it turns out, yes, I can do that. Like, they turned out perfectly fine. So that's why I got a couple more of these 50-gram self-striping skeins, because obviously getting them in 50-gram skeins is much more affordable than going for the full 100 grams. So yeah, I have this birthday yarn. This is one of their rainbow colorways. Let's see what it's called. Fab Funky Fibers Never Ending Rainbow. And this is where we are. So I'm doing the same thing as I did with my previous sock tube. So I started out with a toe. For the toe I used this yarn, which is the Filcolana Aweta, which, I mean, look at this mess, but the yarn is beautiful. I believe this is the Marzipan colorway, and I used 2 strands of this to make a watch cap hat last year. And I just thought it's a beautiful neutral. Like, it's not quite grey, it's not quite like white, or it's like a nice sort of, is it a greyish oatmeal colour? Is that a weird way to describe it? It's beautiful. That's what it is. So I cast on a toe, and now I'm just gonna knit the entire tube. So I'm gonna knit this entire 50-gram skein of yarn into one long tube, and then I will finish with another toe. And eventually I will then cut this into 2 sock tubes and add ribbing and toes with this yarn, and ribbing and heels with this yarn as well. So I'm really excited about this. I had literally just started the orange when we went to the barbecue yesterday, and by the time we got home I got a fair bit of knitting done, which I'm really excited about. And this yarn is just so beautiful. I love it so much. So yeah, that's another work in progress and a new cast on that I've made, and I think that is it in terms of my knitting for this week. Every single week I'm like, I don't have enough content to podcast, and then I've realized like all the knitting that I have done, because I feel like I haven't knit at all this week, but somehow I think I just stress knit and I don't realize the progress that I have been making. So there you go. I have completely lost track of my works in progress at the moment, but thankfully I tend to log them all on Ravelry, so I should have a look. I reckon I have 2 socks, 2 sweaters, a shawl, and a couple of blankets on the needles, which isn't too bad. So I think I'm not yet at a point where it stresses me out. Like, I can't do 53 whips, but I can usually do like 1 or 2 garments, 1 or 2 pairs of socks, maybe some accessories. That's like my happy space. So yeah, there we are. And I think that is it in terms of the knitty content. So if you're only here for that, then thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna keep live stuff short anyways, because I'm very warm. But yeah, you may have heard me mention a while ago that we had like a few clothes moths, like nothing major, but just a few, which we've dealt with clothes moths before. My winter sweaters are all bagged up. My entire stash up here is in plastic bags, so I'm generally not too worried. But this time we couldn't really get rid of them. It was really weird. So only a few days ago we found out it is actually carpet moths. and they had been eating the inside of our wardrobe, because I don't understand why, but in Britain it turns out you have carpet inside your wardrobes. It doesn't make any sense. I've never seen this in Germany, where I come from. But then again, we don't have as much carpet in Germany, so who knows. Anyway, so now we finally know where these little buggers come from and why we couldn't really get rid of them. So we are now dealing with that, and I'm hoping, now that we know what it is, and I have actually ripped out the carpet in the wardrobe now, because why was it there in the first place? I really hope we have this under control, because I'm worried that they'll also start eating the rest of our bedroom carpet, and I have no budget, and more importantly, no time to be dealing with like another flooring adventure. So fingers crossed it'll be good, because honestly I cannot deal with it right now, because our entire downstairs, except for our conservatory, is wooden flooring. And I've always been wanting to also rip the carpet out in our conservatory, because we use it as a dining room. And it's just so stupid to have carpet in there. Like, first of all, my son just like, you know, drops everything on the floor, and then you have to like remove tomato sauce stains out of like a light cream carpet. Also, obviously, we go in and out into the garden all the time, so we always drag all the stuff onto the white carpet. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I've been meaning to rip it out for ages, especially as there's a hole in it. But then when we got the carpet moss, I was like, hang on, why is there a hole in it? Where did that come from? I mean, the hole was there when we bought the house, but why is it there? So I looked under it, and I also found some like dead remnants of carpet moss. I don't think there are carpet moss in there right now. I think because apparently they sort of go where there's no traffic, and we're constantly using this room and walking through it like a million times a day. So I reckon at some point, possibly years ago, someone must have just not used the conservatory, and I think that's when they did that damage. But anyways, I was like fed up with it, so I decided we are ripping out the carpet now and getting some laminate done. So I spent all of Friday like dealing with tradespeople and the nightmare that is tradespeople. But long story short, we should be getting laminate downstairs tomorrow. I'm really excited about it. I've been hating that carpet ever since we moved in. Like day one, I've been hating it. So that'll be gone soon, and that means no more carpet downstairs. So hopefully there everything will be safe. And then yeah, I hope we've dealt with the upstairs situation well enough. And obviously I'm always worried about my stash, but generally speaking it is really well, or like relatively well taken care of. And I have like moth traps and everything up here, so in case anything were ever to like find itself wandering up into the loft, I reckon I would notice it pretty quickly. So I'm not overly worried. I'm just like, it's been such an annoyance with like other life stuff happening in the background as well. So there you go, little house update there. Home ownership is not fun. Like, they tell you it's going to be a lot of work, but honestly I feel like we're just being thrown curveballs every week at the moment. I only talk about like 10% of them. But yeah, that's what I've been dealing with. Isn't that fun? Like, all this time that I could spend like enjoying my son or knitting or doing things that are actually fun, I've been spending like researching carpet moths and like listing laminate jobs online and dealing with tradespeople. But oh well, hopefully next time we talk we'll have beautiful downstairs laminate and everything will be fine. Yeah, besides that, it's been hot. I've mentioned it about 3,000 times, and I think basically that's all my brain is capable for now. So thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope it wasn't too chaotic. I'm going to go back and close those blinds entirely. I feel like this room has heated up by 10 degrees, and I'm sorry if it shows, but here you go, I'm a human being. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this episode today. I hope you enjoyed it, even if it was, or it feels to me, a little bit chaotic and all over the place. I hope to see you guys again soon to catch up on knitting. Again, if you have more sort of suggestions of topics that you would like me to talk about and like what interests you, definitely do let me know. Let me know if you've used Scrappy's Katona yarn, the cotton, and if you liked it. I am thinking, after watching Laura Penrose talk about, what is it called? Filcolana Merci, which is a cotton and wool blend. I'm considering trying that for garments because I feel like I've dabbled into 100% cotton yarns a bit, but I haven't really dabbled in wool cotton blends. And I talked last week about cotton bamboo blends, which someone rightly pointed out probably wouldn't be a great choice for like washcloths and stuff like that, but I think for garments that would be really interesting. So keep going with your suggestions. I'm interested what you guys think and if you've used either of those yarns before. And yeah, until then, I hope wherever you are, you stay cool, you stay safe and healthy if you're anywhere within like the wildfire smokes, which that looks terrifying. I hope you are happy with some yarn and possibly some nice or cool beverages of your choice. And happy knitting. I will see you very soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.